what's going on, everybody? We're going to look at the Dragon Knight today by popular demand. We're going to look over the basics of Dragon Knight, some mechanics, and we're going to look at some PvP basics and a little bit of the mechanics that I use when we are PvPing. So, Dragon Knight is a pretty unique character. While we look over some of the buffs here, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the buffs actually can do. So, Dragon Knight can buff players individually, or they can do party buffs. Some of them are AoE buffs, and they, self-explanatory. But stuff like the speed buff that they have here, one of the blue skills on the bar, second bar, you can buff individual players. Like Dragon Knights buff me in expeditions because I'm a Seg, I don't have move speed. Now, it is my personal opinion that a lot of these buffs are kind of pointless. Like this HP buff's only about 5k HP. You might be able to get it to around 7 or 8k, but it's the time it takes to cast a skill, it's not really worth the time you could take to do damage in a PvP or something. Now, there's three skills that you need to focus on, and that's the purple skill that I have active right now. That's your PvP resistance. So the PvP resistance, you're going to want to keep up 100% of the time. If you spec for it, you can actually stay on your attack set pretty often, doing about between 25 and 35k on someone else's defense set, which is insane. Now, one of the key points to take away from Dragon Knight is you want to stick to your opponent. You don't want to let up. The unique thing about Dragon Knight is the ability to keep pressure and do constant damage to where everybody else has a 4 or 5 different skill combo and then they're running for their lives. Dragon Knight does not have that issue. All of the rotation I have is pretty consistent, and you basically you can 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through the whole bar and then restart it. There's a few skills that you could throw in, like your knockback skills and stuff, which are a couple of advanced mechanics as I'll get into later. But you want to keep your pressure, and we'll talk more about it later. So as soon as we get through all these buffs, but the three main buffs that I keep on in PvP are your 3, 4, 6, and 8 skills. Those will basically let you stay on your attack set with very little downtime in between swapping back to defense. You could swap back to defense, to heal and all that good stuff. Another one of the pretty useless buffs, considering the gear level that we're at now, is this HP regen buff right here. I think it'll get up to around 3 to 4k, maybe. It's based off percent of HP. So if you're going into a PvP with a heal build setup, then you probably get around 5k, maybe. But it's very insignificant. It's not. I don't use it a lot. I'd rather use a 20% pot just to keep myself alive. It's more efficient, less time spent on buffs. Basically, you see, I have an entire bar spent on just buffs for DK. It's kind of excessive. So, a lot of these buffs you're not going to use. This HP regen one, maybe on PvE, you could use it, but 2k HP regen is not worth. Now, one of the most important buffs is your the skill that I just used, and you'll see me swapping over and checking over the different kind of buffs that we get, but the main buff that you want is going to look like a shield on your buff bar, and that's going to give you melee and range resistance. And if you set up for that, you'll get, I've seen upwards of around 60 melee resist, which is very significant. And if you're able to stay on top of somebody with 60 melee resist, super strong, super OP. And Dragonite makes staying on top of people extremely easy. Now, this buff gives you three different, it's random, but it gives you three different buffs. So, first one's going to be your stats. It's going to boost all your stats by 100, I believe. The second one's going to be HP regen. With that one, you might be able to get up to around 5k. With your other one, maybe. I've never gotten to around 5k. It's always been like 4,200 or something. But you might be able to get something like that. The third one, most important, strongest one, is going to be your melee and range resist. There's your HP regen buff right there. Put an RNG into a buff skill that's a necessary skill for PvP and make it an extremely long cooldown. It's kind of dumb to me. Hopefully they can see the light one day and change it. One could only hope. Just be honest here. So, necessary evil. Kind of have to use it in PvP. Hope you get the melee res buff. If you get the other two, you're probably gonna have to stay on a defense costume or something just so you can keep the melee res up. Just so you can stay on top of somebody. Which DK makes it extremely easy. As you see here, the first two top skills we got are gap closers. Those are pretty good gap closers. The third skill, the yellow one, that 3 and 4 are both knockback skills. Now those are probably your most important offensive skills because let's say Asami uses Shadow Revenge and you need to cancel their cooldowns. You use those because we're going to call those hard CCs because you can't resist them. You can run away from them, they can be avoided, but if you catch someone mid-skill, uh, it's a hard CC. You can't resist it. They're going to get knocked back and you can knock them out of their skill. Um, this skill right here, one of my most favorite skills to use. It just looks so freaking cool. Um, but it is a guard and critical damage reduction for the enemy team. It doesn't do anything per se for you. I mean, it gives you like a small boost and stuff, but this is mostly for your combo. So keep using this before every combo you do. The debuff is pretty good. So let's check out my standard combo for when I use DK. All of these skills are set up in a way to where their debuffs are structured enough so that they are, if they hit, constantly on. You got the number 4 skill right there is a -5 PvP res every time it lands and they get the debuff. So it can be up to 15%. I don't have the GM2 on this character, so I have no idea what it does. But you could structure that into a way that all of the attacks are fluid enough to where you can keep constant pressure on somebody. They also are set up in a way to my stun skills are set up so I can keep my close attack skills in range. So I'd be able to not have to chase somebody and hit them and keep on the pressure. Now I've got two bars here to do all of the rotations. The top bar are they're just filler skills. So the first two are gap closers. The second and third is your hard CC knockback skill cancels. Uh, the rest of them are kind of just throw in just to have a few extra skills to throw down the range. So this is my standard combo. This is how I have it set up. I don't really like the transup skills, but the thing about transup, uh, they're still filler skills to me. Uh, I don't think they do enough damage to be significant enough. But the thing about the transup for all you new players, if you're slowed or rooted or something that isn't a stun to where you could actually cast a skill, you can use your transup skill to return your move speed to normal. So, say if a hunter uses slow arrow and you're slowed from that, just use transup skill. That's why I always in PvPs don't start with my transup. Now, the thing about fighting an Alokin is they can take your transup away from you. So, what you could do there is use your transup while you're far away from them, and then use something like your HP regen buff or one of the buffs you don't really care about, like the 2% CDR buff. Is kind of redundant. So, uh, little strategies like this put a player's skills on cooldown and make them not useful. So keep all of this stuff in mind when you're PvPing. You have to explore all the other characters. I have spent so many hours into learning all of the characters that I usually PvP against. Half baggy, for example. I could never fight a half baggy, and once I learned that their Abinres buff is basically their blue bubble, I know once that blue bubble is gone, I can just throw all of my skills down range, all of my stuns, all of that stuff. I know that they're gonna get hit by it. If you're a half baggy, for example, and you know that this is your weak point, uh, just spec a costume for it. Just leave it in your inventory, and when you know that your buff is gonna go down, just right click it. Uh, make a costume for Abinres. Put two blue crests in there for Abinres. Just so you can't get super CC'd. Uh, Everybody talks about how DK has this crazy long stun, but it's nothing compared to all the other classes. Mage, for example, has a 8 second. It's either a sleep or a stun, but they can throw their entire combo out. And if they structure their skills well enough, they'll be able to. I believe the last time I tested it was a couple of years ago, and they could do 2 full rotations of their skills with somebody being stunned. So if you're a mage and you know how to play your class, just structure your skills in a way that benefits you. And if your skills don't land, like your stuns or your sleeps or your stasis or anything don't land, you're still prepared for it because you know where your skills are on the bar. So now I want to talk about skills that flinch your target. Uh, this might change. I've made a suggestion to the GMs later. It could be a cancel skill later.
Okay.
But for right now, at the moment of this video,
Have a good
these are
night.
flinch skills. Basically, what this does is it flinches your target in the middle of a cast, and it stops the cast, but it doesn't cancel the skill. It doesn't put the skill on cooldown. So, what you could do here is most people push their buttons and spam their one button, for example, just to make sure that that skill goes off. What you can do here is use your flinch skills so they are animation locked. And once they're animation locked, you can use your debuff skills like the minus defense or the minus PvP res skills here and prepare for your GM 1 or 2. Or your basically your entire combo is at that point good good to go. So another thing I want to tell you about these flinch skills is you want to be careful about. So as a SEG, I always look for people trying to use their flinch skills on me. And when they do that, I'm gonna cast Shield Heal. So it cancels the skill, the cast of it. It still gives me the shield, and I can recast it right after. So be careful how you use that. Look for points, look for vulnerabilities, and uh, just be careful how you use it, because it could backfire. You don't want that. And that's why it's important to learn all the classes that you usually fight against. Uh, Hunter, AK, Summy is the main one. Learn all their skills, learn what their flinches are, learn what their stuns are, learn what their debuffs are, so you could use all of that against them. And I say that because Hunter, for example, I know once they use their vulnerable point and their basically their debuff setup, I know that they're gonna go full attack set most of the time. So what I do there is I half swap. I'm still maxed on PvP and DDR. I might not have enough melee res to tank their entire combo, but I know that they're going to be most of the time full swapped. And at that point, I know that I'll be doing 40 to 60k damages on them. As I say, I don't have that many great debuffs. It's just enough of a debuff to keep me alive. It's a support class, right? So use their debuffs, know how they're gonna, and this goes into basically knowing how they're PvPing. So watch how they PvP. Just run around for a little bit, throw a few skills here and there. Watch how they throw their skills out, and once you see that their combo, their entire combo, now you know how to set yourself up. So what we're simulating here um, is basically somebody with high Admin res. Hunters, mages, anybody with an Admin res buff. Half baggies are good for that too. Uh, so we're trying to simulate exactly how hard it is to keep on top of somebody. So the realism of running away from a fight is super important because it negates the damage. Your shield and your health, you think of that as a resource. You want to keep as much of that resources as you can. You don't want to waste all your potions just tanking their entire combos and stuff. So instead of, say, you want to avoid a little bit of damage, just run away. Just don't tank that damage. Uh, a lot of people I see in these PvPs in my Terra and party PvPs in Ardeca and everywhere else, I see everybody always tanking somebody's entire combo. You don't need to do that. You could just run away. You could flinch them out of their combos and get away from them. So right here I want to show you the importance of using your flinch skills and most importantly your knockbacks to cutting someone out of a skill. So I believe that this one right here is a bug. The DK is supposed to charge towards the target entirely with no distance. Uh, as you can see here, it only charges halfway. So I believe there's a bug there. I've already reported it. It might get fixed. So uh, until that happens, or until the GM say that it's supposed to be like that, God forbid, um, just use some discretion. Uh, Keep in mind that it's only a flinch skill. They can recast this after you flinch them. So make sure you use this in a way that sets you up for an entire combo. Um, we're gonna see how that's a bug there, or I believe it's a bug. So we're gonna look at the summons a little later, but I just wanted to show you some instances where it could be it not be beneficial to you, uh, to where you can use your flinch skills and stuff. So be mindful. Uh, use your own discretion. if you see something that you think might be a bug, something like this, like a half charge, just report it to the GMs. Make a bug report. They got a bug report channel in the Discord. So now I want to show you how this could hurt you. Now, I'm going to get Blood here to use Shadow Revenge, and I'm going to get him to recast it right after. So I want you to see how this actually works in the game currently. Like I said, again, it might change in the future. Hopefully they fix something like this. But as you can see here, he recasts it basically right after. Now I can't show you the knockback skills on his Summy because the Summy's not geared and I just one-shot it. But I encourage you to do some tests with a friend or something just to see that if your character's knockback does in fact cancel and put their skill on cooldown. Something like a Summy, you don't want to just flinch them out of their Shadow's Revenge. You want to and cancel it entirely and put it on a cooldown. So your knockback skills, my 3 and 4 at the top bar, my 3 bar, you're going to want to be close enough for them to either not want to use it or be scared to use it because they're going to lose it. Another thing about Summies, you want to kill their pets. So many people don't kill pets. And if you're a hunter, for example, and you see a Summy going to do their Shadow's Revenge, you want to position yourself so that one, you hit them, and two, you're also hitting their pet. So you're getting double the benefit from your skills. If you see a Summy recalls their pet to them, just rush them. Make sure you kill the pet. Their pet tanks so much damage and stops so much of your damage. Uh, it's so rare that I ever see a Summy lose a PvP without their pet. But the ones that don't have their pet, they're basically sitting ducks. So while we flinch them out of their pet summon right here, I want to also talk about while they're casting their pet. Basically what you can do is just unload your entire combo into them while they're summoning, and as they summon their pet, it just dies automatically. So it's on cooldown, and they're out of a pet. Granted, you have to lose your combo for it, but it's better to fight a Summy without a pet than when they have it. Uh, their pets tank and negate so much damage that you do to them. It's important that you kill their pet. Alright, Summies, I want to show you a trick. As you see right here, he can walk around his pet summons after his skill's cancelled. So you can use that to get away from your target, make them waste a couple of skills, and maybe they'll not kill the pet to your benefit. So you can use that to your advantage. It's a strategy game. Use everything you can to make them play how you want them to. Now, I know everybody says that this is not a strategy game and how everything is just cut and dry, but as a pretty experienced PvP player, can tell you that all of this stuff that I'm talking right here can most of the time help you win a PvP. There's a few advanced tactics here, but I think they're basic enough to where everybody can use them. So employ all that you can. If there's any bugs with your character, and there are a few that I know of, you can use them to your benefit. Keep all these players on their toes, basically. That's all I could think of for this video. Alright everybody, have a good one.